Jockey Emilio Rodriquez, celebrated as the people's champion, is revered by racing enthusiasts both in Jamaica and internationally. A multiple-time champion jockey, Rodriquez is acclaimed for delivering some of the most exceptional performances ever witnessed on the Jamaican racetrack. Renowned for his vigorous riding style and his exceptional skill and agility, he has consistently secured victories, earning the admiration of fans. Recently, Rodriquez returned to Jamaica to assume the role of ambassador for the Jamaica Thoroughbred Horsemen's Foundation, an organization committed to supporting professionals in horse racing with a particular focus on aiding those working behind the scenes. In the first installment of his autobiographical series, Rodriquez offers an intimate glimpse into his formative years in horse racing, culminating in his triumph at the 1984 Jamaica Derby aboard Thornbird. This lifetime narrative is proudly presented by QuickGallopJHay.com and its YouTube channel, The Quick Galloper.
Speaking with outstanding Jamaican rider Emilio Rodriquez, the man popularly called Bimbo, Chess, Willie Carson. Welcome, Emilio.
Thanks for having me on.
Let's start by asking
you leave out the people's champion, you know.
Let's start by asking you, how did you get all those names, including the people's champion, the poor people champion jockey, all of them names? How did you get those nicknames?
Well, it came with the work what I've done and horse racing as a rider. You know, so you know, the more you win race and the more you get up there, you know, you get these titles, retain these titles on the way to success.
Which was the first one you got?
Bimbo.
Bimbo.
And that stick to me until to this day.
Is that your preferred?
I love that name. I love when everybody call Emilio Bimbo Rodriquez, you know. That's
how did that name come about, the Bimbo?
Well, I was with a trainer called Kenneth the Wire. They call him Sprawl, them call him Beaver, they call him Bimbo, they call me Little Bimbo. So, and I think his Waggy Tugman give me that name, Little Bimbo. Waggy Tugman was a jockey in the old days. He gave me that name.
All right, so let's go from the top. Now that we get all these nicknames out the way, where were you born and raised and schooled?
Well, I was born in Clovel Road. That is downtown Kingston. George mother had George Osang mother had a patty shop beside where I was living. So I was acquainted with George from those times because we born
Stone's throw from each other.
A stone's throw from each other. But I didn't know him at that time. But I know of his mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And where did you school?
I went to Holy Family School and then I went to Holy Trinity. Then we moved out of the area and then I went to Coburn Gardens. And then from Coburn Gardens, I went to Caymanas Park.
How did that come about? How did racing come about for you?
When I was, I would tell you from beginning, when I was living in Kingston, there was, you know, a rider called Victor Rodriguez. You know, through my name, you know, I heard it over the radio, so through my name is Rodriguez. I usually tell all my little friends, say, that's me. I am the rider. Didn't know nothing about Caymanas Park, didn't know anything about horse racing. But I heard the name over the radio and I said, that's what's me, because I named Rodriguez.
But how did you eventually get to the track, to start?
Yeah, when I went to Coburn, when I started attending Coburn Gardens School, there was Ranjit and Donovan Lindo. You know, we were friends at that school because we were classmates. So Donovan and Derek left school and they told me, said I'm going to Caymanas Park to become a jockey. So, you know, I went home and I said, tell my mother, I said, you know, I found something what I can do in life. So Ranjit told me, say, I must come with him. You know, so I asked him, how I can reach Caymanas Park? He said, just go down to the train line, walk on the train line, you can't miss it. That's all you're going to find Caymanas Park. So I went home, I told my mother, and I did the same thing. That's what, it was a Saturday, you know, no school at that time. So I walk on the train line. A little boy, 10-year-old, 9-year-old, but I know the street, you know. You know, as a little boy growing up in Kingston, I know the street. So, you know, I walked to Caymanas Park and I found Caymanas Park.
Tell me where you started walking from.
From 3 miles.
From 3 miles, okay.
Yeah.
So you just hit the train line from there.
The train line from 3 miles.
All the way to Gregor Park.
All the way to Gregor Park. It was a Saturday, and it was a race day. And the first race I saw was a horse called Old King Cole with Kenneth Mattis riding him. So I watched the race all day. So after the evening, I went to the stables and, you know, looking around. This guy, as a groom, they call him Longfoot. Fitzgerald, his training name is Fitzgerald. He become a trainer after. So Longfoot said, I have a trainer, he's soon come. So when him come, I will let him know. So I said, okay. So, but I was walking around the paddock, you know, and I went over Ralph Zade's stable, and asked Ralph Zade if him could apprentice me. I'd like to learn to ride a horse. And Ralph Zade looked at my fingers and said, you're going to grow. You're going to get tall. I said, okay. So I went back to Longfoot and waited till his trainer named Williams. Not Billy Williams, you know, but I don't remember his first name, but it's Williams. They call him Sam Trimley. He came and he asked me if I have a ride to go back home. I said, no. So he said, come with me. And he take me home and, you know, I introduced him to my mother, and my mother talked to him, and she said, if you're going to go to school, I will allow you. So I said, okay, I will go to, the trainer said, I will let him go to school. There's a school close by. So that is Gregor Park All-Age School. So that's how I becomes familiar with the Caymanas Park.
Right, so that's how you got introduced to it.
Yes.
How did that unfold? What was the process like now going forward from there?
Well,
you made your school and...
Yeah. The first horse, affectionately Longfoot I call him. Longfoot put me on. It's a horse called Milo. When he put me up on Milo, you know, no saddle, bare back, just a piece of felt. He slapped the horse on his bottom. The horse buck jump, and there's a cistern right there with a lot of mud and water. I fell straight into the mud and water, face down. So I get up back and start wash my face and said, don't move. Let me ride him again. So he threw me up after I wash off my face. And that's where I started.
So there was no fear either?
No fear. I was more anxious to ride a horse more than fear of a horse.
Was it something you thought about? I mean, the first time you're going on a horse and buck jump, throw you off on your face, mud up, and you just want to go back?
I just want to go back, put my back on that horse. But the first horse I get acquainted with, I was living in Barbican. There's a horse in a field. I think it's where Discount Pharmacy is now. That was an open land right there, you know. I went over there and started pet that horse. It's a chestnut horse. I can't forget that horse. And you know, the owner came over and you know, and tell me said, you can pet him for, you know, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You can pet him. So that's where I first acquainted with the horse.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. What age we're talking about?
This is about 7 years of age.
About 7.
Yeah. I went to Barbican at about 7 years of age.
Okay. And when you went to the track, about what?
About 10.
About 10.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me about the process, you know, of learning the rudiments of the sport and that kind of thing.
Well, you know, I started to learn to pick stalls, to cut grass, to go to the bush and cut grass, put the bag of grass on my head, come back, feed the horses, water up the horses at night time. That's my duty at night time, to water the horses. Every 9 o'clock I have to water the horses. So if I'm out on the out of the compound, by 9 o'clock I have to be there. I have to get back and water the horses and see they take out the dungs out of the stalls. You know, at evening time we take out the dungs, and that's they can rest properly.
You started, I'm sure you started getting on horses, probably trot. I mean, tell me about the process.
Okay.
Now, learning, riding,
The learning process. Well, every groom, let's say, I was willing to ride, to learn to ride. They are Bill Williams. Bill Williams grooms them usually put me up on horse. Michael Silvera grooms them usually put me up on horse, and we usually work horse in the daytime. We usually walk horse in like from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So I skipped from one stable to the other. Johnny Harrison was in front of my stable. That's a trainer with a lot of horses too. I usually go over there and they usually teach me to ride. All the grooms them really take care of me when I came to Caymanas Park, because Caymanas Park was like a family. Paddock was like a family room, and everybody sleep there. Everybody, even when George Osang came to Caymanas Park, he went home. He stayed there and he sleep there. And both of us look after one horse together at Fritz Crawford's stable. The horse called Django. So when he came, George was skeptic of taking up the dung. And I have to show him, I push him over and say, George, go over, man, pick up the dung. And I show him how to pick up the dung, because I was more advanced more than him. I could ride it. I could ride in a race when George came to Caymanas Park.
How long was the process? Who was it, your apprentice master?
My first apprentice master was Williams. My second apprentice master was Kenneth Dwyer. My third apprentice master was a guy called Peng, Gator Peng. And then I went to Fritz Crawford.
So you got your license?
I got my license at Fritz Crawford. And I can't forget that day when I went for my license. Both of us, George and I, George had a bike, a little under 50. The rain was falling, and I'm so anxious to go and get my license. I said, George, we have to reach a jockey club that is in Kingston. So we have to reach jockey club. So I took his photo from him, and I put it with mine and wrap it up in a piece of plastic paper and push it in my waist that it can't get wet. So I said, come George, let us go. And we rode on that bike. I went on the back of the bike and George rode. And by the time we reached to ferry, the rain was finished. So by the time we reached the jockey club, we were dry. So
you left in rain?
We left in rain, and we eventually reached jockey club.
How overjoyed were you when you submitted that application?
I was overjoyed. I was glad. I was happy.
After how many years now of going
this
through
is
the process?
about 3 years, 3.5 years.
And what year was this?
This is 1970.
Okay. All right, so turn big man now, get your jockey's license. Tell me about the process. How soon after you got your first ride?
I got my first ride about 3 weeks after. About 3 weeks after I got my first ride.
And riding in a race for the first time?
For the first time, I rode, a apprentice master put me up on a horse called Pierre Sang. And a guy had a horse in the stable named Butcher Boy. So I rode that 2 horses. I ran fourth with Pierre Sang.
How long after you got your first winner?
I got my first winner about 3 months after.
About 3 months after?
About 3 months after.
And what's the name of that horse?
Bright Star.
Bright Star.
For Bill Williams. I Bill usually give me a 1 horse because I usually exercise the horses. These 2-year-olds, in the morning. As I say, I was willing. Every trainer, Michael Silvera, well, Larry Silvera wasn't in the paddock, so I didn't get acquainted with Larry or Owen Silvera. But those are the men that kind of pushed me along as an apprentice.
Go back to this first winner, Emilio. How confident were you of this horse? Was it a long shot or highly
No,
favored?
it wasn't a long shot. It's just like a 10 to 1.
But were you confident?
Yeah, I was confident. It was a good horse, and you know, and the favorite. I beat the favorite with Keith McFarlane rode the favorite, and he was leading all the way. So I came up on the rail as an apprentice and beat him.
What was that feeling like?
Wow, overjoyed. Overjoyed. I should win a race before that. And midsummer, I get cut off at the furlong post and went down and my horse went down on his face. And by the time I took him up back, the race was over. I ran second. But the jockey who did it apologized. I'm very sorry for because he didn't see me coming.
All right, so you're now on your way. Started winning races. How many races you won that year? 70. Do you remember?
70, I won about 5-6 races. I get spared horses.
Right.
Yeah.
How was the development in the preceding years?
The preceding years, well, I tell you, I get my first real break from Ren Gonzalez. Ren Gonzalez was, Vin Edwards is the one who took me to Ren Gonzalez stable. We were at Sabina Park, because I love cricket. I come from Kingston, right beside Sabina Park. So I usually, over Sabina Park as a little boy. And Vin Edwards saw me over Sabina Park, and he went to Ren Gonzalez. Ren Gonzalez was a hot trainer at that time, and he said, "Ren, I found a perfect rider for you." And Joe Bravo was riding for Gonzalez at that time. Little me, just lose my apprenticeship, I'm going over to get out a big jockey like Jose Bravo. It's not easy. So he said, use him. But our first horse I rode for Ren Gonzalez is a horse called Blue Magic. I won. And from that, Ren started giving me all his rights.
And you did very well.
I did very well.
So well that by 1975, you were able to land your first derby.
Yes. No, the first classic I won, Charisma. I won the Oaks and Charisma for Ren Gonzalez.
Tell us
And
about
then,
that one.
The first classic, there's a horse called Chatterbox with L.C. Parks, and a couple of the English rider usually come down and to ride. So Chatterbox was for Billy Williams and a couple more. I wasn't the favorite. I was the least fancied. Chatterbox led in the race and looked like he's all over winner. And here comes Charisma on the outside. Catch him right on the light and beat him.
What year was Charisma?
Charisma is about 72, 73, I think.
So that's, short years after you started riding.
Yes.
Landing your first classic, what was that like for you?
Oh, it's overjoying. It's overwhelming. I say I start go places now. So.
Which leads us now to Tudor with winning the Derby.
Yes. Well, I start riding for Sidney Watson. I get going now, Other trainer, established, other trainer start giving me rides. So Sidney Watson was not training on the track. He was training in Melvin Park. And, I used to live over that side. So I usually go over there and train, run over the track over there. So that's why I become familiar with Sidney Watson. But I didn't know Sidney Watson before, but he went over Melvin Park. So he called me and asked me to work some horses at the evening time for him over there because I live close by.
So you were a busy man, working in the morning and in the evening?
And in the evening. We usually work twice a day.
Okay.
The horses usually work twice a day, morning and evening. You know, some set of horse work in the morning and some set of horse work in the evening. For a while, at Cayman Park. Yeah. So, you know, through a close by, I started work the horses for and then it started to give me a few rides. So I won Words of Rocket, houses like those, through the wit. You know, I won a couple of races before the Derby with him. So, you know, and the Derby came up, and he asked me to ride the horse. So I just rode him. I won. I think it was Thoroughbred was doing very well. I don't think him losing the race before the Derby, but he was doing very well.
And you were confident?
I was confident. I was confident for that Derby. I know George could beat me in that Derby.
Yeah.
He beat me the year before. So
Full time to turn the table.
full time to turn the table.
But again, for any horseman, well, particularly jockey, the Derby is the soul, the ultimate. And you achieved, within 5 years of riding, you achieved your first Derby winner.
Yes, it's a milestone for any rider to win a Derby. It's a great achievement, you know, because everybody want to win, every jockey want to win a Derby, every trainer want to win a Derby, you know.
But you didn't stop there, Emilio. You won 3. You repeated the feat in 79, I think it was, with Lucky Old Son.
Yes.
And then with the great Thornbird in 1984. But Lucky Old Son, you don't find racing fans in Jamaica speak about derbies and Lucky Old Son and Emilio. That one, it always comes up.
Yes,
always, because the nature of the race. Lover boy says, "Atta boy." Bimbo, you were the man. Tell us about that.
Hey, I'm a virgin in this, you know. We
For
come
years.
from the same corner of town, you know. 70 years now we're there together,
Yeah, man.
right?
And then tell you about the bike, you know, forgot for no license, you know.
Really fun. Okay, Lucky Old Son now. I come by riding Lucky Old Son. I was riding for Nigel Nunes. And but I wasn't riding Lucky Old Son. I think it's Dave North overrode him in the Governor's Cup. I rode someone else. I think I won that Governor's Cup. Nigel, after the race, Nigel came to me and said to me, Dave, throw away the Governor's Cup. Riding for me in the Derby, he cannot lose the Derby. I said, okay, Nigel. And I did ride him in that Derby. Autoboy was in front. I was sitting about 4th, 5th. Autoboy was in front, and a couple of the horses. And, you know, I bide my time and come down and, you know, attack them at the top of the stretch. And all of a sudden, my ass is like lifeless. And I said, I'm trying to keep him up. And there's Neville Anderson coming out on me. Well, I have to do what I have to do. After time, I couldn't take a bounce, because if I get a bounce
On a dying horse.
on a dying horse, that would be it. So I have to whip my horse one time and whip Neville on the other side. Whip my horse and whip Neville. That's why they had that objection after the race. So, and after the race, Lucky Old Son didn't even reach the mile turn. He pull up himself and lay down on the ground. I have to jump off of him and pull the girt and take off the saddle off him. And then we start wet him up with some water, and then he revive. But that is a completely dead horse. That's why all the fans who watched that race said Lucky Old Son is the best Derby they've ever seen. And
So it was a 3-way finish.
It's a 3-way finish. Well, and there's another horse close by too. It's 3-way further, but there's another horse close by.
Looking back at that, Emilio, you know, get goosebumps sometimes just to look back at how you
I get-
managed to get that horse across.
I get goosebumps just listening to the race, because I had the race on tape. Someone sent it to me on tape, but listening, Chris Harmon announcing that race, wow, it's magic.
Double Loverboy says works quite well in the middle there, along with Call the Doctor. The leader in the early stages looks to be Nursery Rhyme that's surging forward, along with He's a Native on the inside in a good position too is Robin Goodfellow there, but it looks to be on the outside Christmas Fire now that goes through to show the way in the Derby. So it's Christmas Fire on the inside, Robin Goodfellow, Nursery Rhyme, and Bull Magic outside. Then comes Jolly Roger. Behind them, Call the Doctor, Mr. LSQ, then Megawatt, He's a Native, Attaboy, Lucky Old Son, Loverboy, says settled by Fitzroy Gillespie. Second to last with Shazam last. It's the Philly Bull Magic that pulls Dalton and Jolly into the lead as they go into the mile turn. Bull Magic from Nursery Rhyme and Christmas Fire. She's running wide. Then comes Robin Goodfellow, Jolly Roger, and Attaboy, very close touch today by Neville Anderson. Then comes the gap to He's a Native. Behind them, Call the Doctor, Lucky Old Son. Then comes Loverboy, says tightly held by Fitzroy Gillespie. Shazam and Megawatt brings up the rear as they go now, with Bull Magic putting her head in front as they go up the backstretch from Robin Goodfellow. Jolly Roger is third, Mr. LSQ fourth, Attaboy fifth, Lucky Old Son sixth. Then comes He's a Native and Nursery Rhyme. Behind them comes Loverboy fifth. Then Call the Doctor, Shazam, Christmas Fire, and Megawatt. But it's the filly Bull Magic who's open daylight between herself and indeed Mr. LSQ and Jolly Roger. Attaboy moves down into contention. Then comes Lucky Old Son. Behind them Robin Goodfellow. A long gap to He's a Native. Then comes Loverboy, says Shazam, Call the Doctor, Nursery Rhyme, Megawatt, and Christmas Fire at the half-mile marker. Mr. LSQ goes through the throw the challenge there. Attaboy moves up, promising to be third. Then comes Jolly Roger. Lucky Old Son is fourth. Bull Magic still showing the way from Mr. LSQ and Attaboy as they come to the three. It is Bull Magic the leader from Mr. LSQ, Attaboy, Lucky Old Son, He's a Native, and Loverboy just beginning his move with Fitzroy Gillespie as they come now to the final part of the turn. The horses get into a tight bunch with Attaboy coming on the outside of Lucky Old Son and Bull Magic to dispute the lead, and it is now Attaboy that goes on from Lucky Old Son, Mr. LSQ, and here comes Fitzroy Gillespie with Loverboy set on the outside now as they come to the final turn in the Derby. It is Lucky Old Son on the inside with Emilio Rodriquez in between them, Attaboy on the outside, Loverboy set. Lucky Old Son leading on from Attaboy and Loverboy set for Attaboy staying on this from its shoulder. It is Attaboy and Lucky Old Son from Loverboy set. They hit the fight on the line for the Derby, and it's Lucky Old Son and Emilio Rodriquez that wins it. Attaboy and indeed Loverboy sets on the outside. A tremendous Derby. I don't think they've had a Derby so close in a number of years, and Emilio Rodriquez with this win puts himself in front in the Jockeys Championship for this year and gives Nigel Nunes his second Derby success, having scored earlier on with Balladeer. But judges will be calling for a photograph between Attaboy and Lucky Old Son, and indeed Loverboy says a tremendous race. The filly, I think, just failing to stay 12 furlongs there this afternoon under Alton and Jolly, and the judges will be calling for a photo. It looks to be the Nigel Nunes under-trained Lucky Old Son with Emilio Rodriquez in the irons that has indeed landed the Derby here this afternoon over Attaboy, ridden by Neville Anderson, and Loverboy Seth, ridden by Fitzroy Gillespie. That's the way we see the Derby on first official number 4. He's a Native, finished fourth. Back now to the studio.
And then you had Thornbird. I mean, that was so much class.
Yeah, she is.
Press button, they would say.
Yeah, she's a class, but she doubt going a mile and a half. Everybody doubt her going a mile and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Even the trainer doubt her going a mile and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, say after give her a good ride,
Mm-hmm.
you know, use my skills and my judgment for this one, for her to lasso. So I had to save her all the way, because you know Thornbird is a horse. Bam, press button in front, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But you should doubt going a mile and a half to have to back her off the pace,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, make she relax and sit down and take bide my own time and slingshot them from the top of the turn. So by the time they use our speed, when I say slingshot, use our speed from the top of the turn and make one fast move. So by the time she starts to stop back,
It's too late for them.
it's too late for them.
Mm-hmm. You also had Kazoshe. I think Kazoshe was before Thornbird.
Yeah, Kazoshe was before
Outstanding
Thornbird.
filly again.
But she won the Oaks. I didn't think she ran in the Derby.
No.
No, she didn't run in the Derby.
But she won the Super 6.
She won the Super Stakes.
Mm-hmm.
She won the Oaks. and a couple of other races. But she's a darling to me.
Yeah, man. You have had success with a number of fillies. Which is your favorite?
Kazoshe.
Kazoshe.
She had a special. I won't tell you about why this sentiment between me and Kazoshe. When she was a 2-year-old, just coming to the track, learning to gallop, the groom, she get away from the groom, and there's a lot of brush along the fence, high brush. I saw her, so she ran behind the brush, and I went to catch her, and I see she peeping around the corner of the brush, peeping. So I started laughing. She looking for anyone coming. I started to laugh, and I went to her and take her, and she stand up same place. She don't move, and I stand up and I catch her, and I take her over. From that, I don't want nobody ride her. I don't want nobody school her. I will do the schooling with her. So that's where the sentiment attached between me and Kazoshe. It's my girl. She's miserable. She's the most miserable girl I ever met in my life, but she's good.
The second installment of Rodriquez's lifetime narrative sees Rodriquez revisiting more of his most memorable achievements at Caymanas Park and reflecting on his experiences riding on the international circuit.
Thank you for watching another video produced by the team from QuickGallopJaya.com and its YouTube channel, The Quick Galloper. Please stay on the channel for other enlightening videos on those involved in local horse racing. Please like, subscribe, and press the notification bell.